1. I used to work as a food receiver in a retirement home kitchen. I won't say the name, but I will say it sounds vaguely Nordic. When I took over as food receiver in the primary kitchen, didn't have much training. I was just told, you helped the previous guy, you know the most, job is yours now. Over the next almost 8 years, I got that place maximized for peak use of space. Every now and then we would get a new head chef, and they always made the mistake of trying to run it like a restaurant. Usually in about 2 weeks they'd realize that it was a different vibe and tone and adjust accordingly. Had a great head chef as a boss for about 5 years. He knew that since deliveries were food and to some degree perishable, my scheduled delivery needed to be a little fluid and flexible to account for late deliveries while not having me rack up overtime. We worked out a great system where I basically set my own hours and got everything done. Fast forward to a regime change. The head chef was a tool, but with him came a woman whose job title was never told to any of us in the kitchen. We were just told she outranked all of us. First thing she did was decide I would no longer have a fluid schedule. My shifts would be posted on the board like all the others 2 weeks in advance. I didn't like it, but okay, fair enough. Got to about 2 weeks later, I had to leave early for a dentist appointment. That had been submitted and approved months ago. I reminded her day before and day of. Day after, she gives me a dressing down and a written reprimand for leaving before end of scheduled shift. She told me she didn't care what happened before, she never had papers for this request. Luckily for me, the head of the entire dining department, even above the head chef, told her that she had been given all those time-off approved papers when she started, and if my shift didn't reflect my pre-approved leaving early, it was her fault for not paying attention. Unluckily, she decided to take it out on me, saying that from now on, once schedule is posted, no changes unless it is in writing and signed by both us minimum of 2 days prior. No exceptions. I looked at the calendar and saw I'd get to have fun and get payback. See, being a food receiver, a monthly job of mine, was to do end-of-month inventory on all food, beverage, and cleaning items. I had actually created the inventory paperwork myself, so instead of being alphabetical, the items were all listed together based on which area they were sorted with. Dishwasher, chemical closet, freezer, dry food storage, soda, syrup room, etc. Meaning, after a few months, I could go room to room quickly and be done in less than 2 hours. Catch was, it had to be done either last thing last day of a month or first thing first day of a month. And it could not be 2 in the same month. With no weekend deliveries, I worked Monday to Friday. Now, under the old cool head chef, I had to do it on a Saturday or Sunday. I'd just come in and do it, then leave early on a slow day, canceling extra hours. And lo and behold, this was one of those months, where inventory would have to be done on a Saturday or Sunday, days she had me down as off on the calendar. I grinned like Tim Curry at the Grinch in Home Alone 2 and waited. Sure enough, last Friday of the month she asks me, "Which day are you coming in to do inventory?" I told her I wasn't, I was scheduled off. She goes into a tirade about, "It's your job, you don't tell me no, I'll have you written up," etc. I calmly told her making the schedule was her job and her responsibility, not mine. This earned me, "I don't care what the schedule says, you're coming in this weekend." To which I sweetly and sarcastically asked her if she had papers signed by both of us, and dated no later than yesterday, about us agreeing to this switch. You know, the policy you created when you got called out by head office for not properly handling my schedule early shift, if smartphones had been commonly around in 2009, I would have taken a picture of her face. I found out from the weekend crew it took her almost an entire day to do it herself. This was first of many times she found out the fun way about half the tasks I did under the old regime, which were technically not required by my work position. I just did them when I had extra time to help a boss I respected. If you're wondering about the chef I mentioned in passing, he's Chef Winnie. So, for the head chef and his Nimrodic attitude, as I stated before, my shift was Monday to Friday. Never found out if this was a company policy or just for the kitchen staff, but technically, we in the kitchen were supposed to work either one day every weekend or every other full weekend. The previous cool chef realized that only food delivered on the weekend was 3 boxes of pastries, and Monday to Friday there was a constant stream of food orders I needed to either place or receive and quantity check. So he circumvented and had me, the food receiver, work the days where the food was actually there to receive. Now, Chef, when he comes around, he thinks I've politicked to get all the weekends off, and he tells me, "You're coming in Sunday." I try to explain to him there's a logistical reason I have off weekends. He just interrupts me, claiming that my days of special treatment are over, and that even though there's no deliveries, just find something to do. Clean the freezer, fridge, or something. So I come in on Sunday. Now, I kept areas pretty clean on a daily basis, only falling behind by a day from time to time, if I had heavy deliveries or something. 2 walk-in freezers, 1 walk-in fridge, 1 dry food storage room, and 1 soda syrup room. Except this Sunday they were all recently cleaned with no issues. So I spent 8 hours puttering around. Now a side tangent about the delivery schedule. Chef placed orders for the raw meat and seafood and fresh produce and daily deliveries. I placed orders for twice-a-week ice cream deliveries, twice-a-week milk deliveries, and the big orders of bulk foods. I forget the ice cream and milk schedule, but bulk orders were placed on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday deliveries. Everything got ordered on Friday for the first delivery of the following week. So, back to the week. I've worked Sunday into Wednesday now, and it's before they added me to the printed schedule. So I go to the chef and ask what my 2 days off that week are going to be. That's company policy, by the way, not entitlement. He says, "We'll take Saturday off, there's no deliveries." I then ask about my second day off. He looks at the calendar and gets an "oh, fornicate me" look. Starts stammering about all the orders that are needed placed or received on both of those days. I agree that yes, there are a lot of deliveries and orders to be taken care of, but repeat that I need a second day off per company policy. He then starts in about how no one else here really knows how to place or take care of orders. I hold firm that is not my problem. I'm supposed to have 2 days off. The heads of dining for the entire campus get involved. Right away, the chef is asked, "Why did you have him work a day when there's no deliveries?" So A, I got the next day, Thursday, off. B, the chef had to scramble to get Friday orders placed for the weekend, not even knowing where the order forms were. C, he didn't schedule me for any more weekends. And yes, that's the shorter incident. 2. In my home country, I'm living abroad now. The gas station has people who will fill your tank for you. It's not optional. These people are paid to put fuel in your tank. That's it. I was one of them during my college years. The fuel we had at the station was unleaded Benson 95, 98, and 100, and diesel. One day, a regular customer came over. He was a taxi driver. I had seen him before, both with his taxi car, a Mercedes, and his private car, an Audi. The Mercedes was a diesel car and the Audi was Benson. Keep in mind, back then, every taxi in the country was running with diesel. That day, he came in with the taxi. I noticed he was a bit out of it and didn't comment on it. I asked how much he wants in the tank. He said, "Full unleaded 100. I looked at him strangely. "You mean diesel?" "No, I mean unleaded 100. "But sir, you have the..." I didn't get the chance to point out that he was driving his taxi. He goes, "Young girl, please, I know what fuel my car needs." I looked at him one more time. I'm getting pissed at that point. "Okay, sir. Full tank, unleaded 100. Is that correct?" "Yes, thank you." Right away, and I proceeded to put unleaded 100 in his diesel car. He paid and left. 2 days later, he comes again in my shift with his Audi this time. I go out and greet him, trying not to laugh at his face. "What's it going to be today, sir? Diesel?" I asked, trying to bite my tongue. He eyed me carefully. "Unleaded 100, please, full tank. Are you sure?" I asked, and he side-checked his car. "Yes, thank you." "Right away, sir." I fill his tank, and as he was paying, he adds, "Next time, I would appreciate it if you told me I was being an idiot and put the correct gas in the tank." He said seriously, but I could see the humor in his eyes. "Was the damage that much?" I asked. "You have no idea. Have a good day." And he left. I never found out what the cost of the damage was, but for my duration at that gas station, when I was the one loading his car, he would always go, "Full tank, please," without saying what kind. 3. I'm a 20-year-old male that works at a very popular restaurant in a very snobby area. My main job is to assist the servers in any way I can, so they only have to worry about sweet-talking the customers. I do all the heavy lifting for them, whether it's cleaning their tables or taking their drinks and food to their tables. I'm doing it, and all they have to do is focus on making the customers laugh. They get tips that range from $17 to $40 per table, while I make $8 an hour and get treated poorly. Enough backstory. Cue the malicious compliance. My manager came up to me in a "I'm better than you" mood and told me to deep clean the floors, ice makers, walls, trash cans, and racks, and not to come to the front for any reason. I'm very annoyed at this because none of those things are my job duties. We have staff that deals with all the cleaning of the back, so it didn't make any sense to have me do it. These tasks would have taken me an hour and a half max, but I was feeling a bit cheeky and decided to really deep clean the back until it was spotless. About 30 minutes later, the same manager comes up and tells me that there are 4 tables that need cleaning and 2 other tables just got sat, and I need to bring their drinks to them. I looked at this man with the stare of a 20-year-old that has no bills to pay, and I say, "No, I'm not done cleaning." He looked shocked and responded angrily, "You can finish later, they need help." And I countered with, "No, it's filthy here, and we don't want a health inspector to just walk into this filth, do we?" He storms off like a toddler that didn't get their candy. 2 hours go by, and I'm on my hands and knees, scrubbing as if I was working for Chef Gordon Ramsay himself. The same manager comes back again with a smirk and says, "Wow, this looks like it's going to take you all day. Maybe you should come to the front and help the servers, since there's a huge Sunday rush." I replied with, "You might just be right," and I go back to cleaning. He storms off again. Fast forward to 2 minutes before my shift ends. Legs and fingers are all aching from cleaning. I shuffle my way to the front where my manager has been waiting for me, and he says, "You finally decided to come help, huh?" And I look at him, without saying anything, and clocked out, and then I tell him, "I'm sorry, I'm not clocked in." I walked out of my car while he was blowing my phone up. I didn't care, I had 5 days off back to back, and he can't fire me as I did as he told me to. The moral of this story is don't think you're better than someone that has nothing to lose. And for anyone thinking right now, he can fire you, yeah, you're right, he could. But he won't do that, because I am the only one that is working the position, and no one has applied to come work at the place for $8 an hour. There are more details to the story than what I told, so instead of trying to be smart, let me fill in some extra details. I don't have any bills to pay. Living, food, or insurance bills. The only things I have to pay are my flight school and saving up for a car, which I don't consider bills since I'm not being hunted down for those. I'm also having a job interview tomorrow at a place that pays $17 an hour, and I'll be working 1/3 of what I am at my current restaurant job. Lastly, I do get tip shares from the servers, but it goes straight to my paycheck. So that means that the servers can report less of what they made and give me less, so instead of making $8 an hour, I'm making $9 an hour. I did the math through my paycheck. Thank you for listening. 4. So this one had happened recently. I own a small business, and due to recent positive exposure, I've been getting inundated with new customers. Due to the increased flow of people, I have needed to expand my brick and mortar to accommodate more people. Things like retiling the bathroom, fixing up our patio area, installing better ventilation, etc. However, due to the current economic outlook, a lot of small business loan lenders are a bit more skittish about giving out larger loans. I decided to use a popular site that puts small businesses with lenders who will give them term loans at decent rates. After going through several lenders, I found one that had the amount I wanted for the APR I was looking for. The rep seemed nice in the beginning. He was very cordial and explained the process, background check, paperwork, etc. that I would need to sign and submit to secure the loan. At this point in the story, I should note that the lender-connected company has a policy that if I get a better offer from one of the connector companies they put you in touch with, if it's within $10,000, they will match it with another lender if they can get you a better rate. So after talking to this guy over the course of a week, I get an offer for the exact amount and percentage rate that I wanted. I tell him I need a day to read through it and I will get back to him. I figure if I'm going to take on a large sum of money, I should at least know the finer details of the contract. An hour later, he starts saying that this offer is only on the table for the next 2 hours, and that if I wait longer, he will pull it, and only be able to give me a lower amount at a higher rate. He then proceeds to tell me that only his company can get me the amount I need, and no one else can, so they're my only option, and I need to accept right away or else I will be out of options. Cue the malicious compliance. I immediately call the main lender contact rep, who put me in contact with this rep. I explained that I received a great offer from them, but wanted to see if another company could give me a smaller loan amount for better interest, and quoted their policy of matching with another of the lending companies they work with. The rep says to give them 30 minutes. 35 minutes later, they tell me they found another company that would give me a loan that's 2% lower interest rate and $5,000 more than the douche rep's company. I say great, get on the phone and sign with them. An hour later, I call the douche rep back. He sounds super smug, assuming that I would have no other option but him, and asks if I have signed the contract. I said I did, with another company, since he is operating by the Lender Connect's guidelines. I submitted his quote and was able to secure a better loan. I got silence on the phone for 5 seconds, and he mumbles out, "Cool beans." I then wish him a great day and good luck with securing clients and end the call. Gotta love company policies. And in case anyone's concerned, I used to be a paralegal. I'm very familiar with reading through contracts, and I did read through the second contract loan as well. 5. I imagine it was a bright, cheerful day when my mother and I were on our way to some grocery shopping. I'm sure we were chatting on about God knows what, when a flashy convertible came careening around a corner, engine revving under the command of someone who, obviously, didn't know how to drive stick, and tires squealing at the optimum, "Hey everybody, look how big my dick isn't," pitch. In apparent disagreement with the red light, said flashy convertible was blatantly running. We missed a collision by inches thanks to Mom's reflexes, and while we were thanking our lucky stars, this fucking dickbrain decides the best course of action after narrowly escaping death, and or a serious maiming, is to climb out of his candy-colored overcompensation and start making a scene. See, my mother is just as quick to shut down a man tantrum as she is in the reflex department, so while our new friend was fuming at the mouth in the middle of the intersection, and calling us all kind of very friendly names, she gave him a little wave and drove into the supermarket parking lot. We went about our shopping without incident. As we approached our car, laden with the spoils of our endeavor, we noticed there was a very familiar car in the next spot over. That's right. Dickbrain, derogatory, had parked the tangible evidence of his midlife crisis right next to us, with the top down. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but whenever I see an unattended convertible with the top down, I have the strongest urge to investigate and tamper with said car. It's like seeing a wet paint sign and having to check to see if the sign is, in fact, telling the truth. This urge runs in the family. We wanted to put something in his car that didn't belong. My mother came in hot out of left field and suggested I tuck my panties somewhere they could be discovered by Dickbrain's hypothetical wife. To my shock and her dismay, we moved on from that idea toot sweet. See, my mother is distantly related to the Allegheny pack rat, Neotoma magister, and therefore has all manner of odds and ends at her disposal at any given time, tucked away in the myriad compartments of her SUV. Need a plastic spork and hair tie, change of socks but can't get off the freeway? Mom's got it. Radio fuse blew? She's got another one in here somewhere. Feeling a bit peckish? You've got your choice between her ever-present package of Twizzlers, various half-full bags of chips, a granola bar of indeterminate origin, and warm cans of Diet Mountain Dew. We even found a Ziploc bag of human teeth in there once. That's a story for a different time. We stood there for a bit, wondering what two adult women could plant in a stranger's open vehicle to incite mayhem without possibly destroying a marriage, when my mom suddenly dove into the back seat and, after some brief rummaging, popped back out and thrust something towards me. A rubber ducky. A rubber ducky wearing lederhosen and a tiny Tyrolean hat. It was perfect. We perched das Ducky atop the instrument panel of Dick Brain's car-shaped insecurities for maximum visibility upon his return and drove off, cackling hysterically to each other until we devolved into squeaking noises and couldn't breathe. Now shut the fuck up before you go on saying this isn't revenge. I'd like to continue my life believing that this man, upon seeing this little plastic German duck on his dashboard, broke a little bit inside, started to question his reality. Why a duck? Why was it in his car? Who would put it there? Did they have some nefarious motive? He'd never know for sure. From time to time, he would forget about the duck and his questions about the meaning of life, but bam! Come Oktoberfest, I'm all up in his brain again. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Revenge is Ice Cream, episode 230. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Please bonk the like button before you go and share the video with friends and family. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is there anything that you wanted very much when you were younger and you told yourself, when I'm adult, I have my own money, I am so gonna buy that you just never ever bought? Now, there was a number of things I wanted as a kid that I would later then buy. Some I enjoyed, some I regretted. But one thing I did want was a sword, a katana sword specifically. However, by the time I was old enough to actually afford to buy one, even just a cheap-ish replica one, I really didn't care at all. It meant nothing to me. I still appreciate them aesthetically, but I don't want a big choppy dangerous thing in my house. What are some of yours? Please pop your answers in a comment below. With that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.